Hi everyone, I have another Valentine's Day card for you today. We are going to use the Love Die and Stencil by Pretty Pink Posh, and we're going to use some watercolors and then some distress ink as well to ink over our stencil. So I'm going to show you a fun way to combine watercolor with your stencil. So to start, I just have a piece of watercolor paper and I'm taping it to the Love stencil, and I'm going to take some antique distress ink and I am just going to ink all over the background of the stencil. So we are going to add some watercolor over this. So my only recommendation to you is to choose a light distress ink that will coordinate well with whatever colors you're going to use. So we're going to be using a lot of pinks and peachy pink. So this antique linen distress ink worked great. So you want to use the distress inks here, not the distress oxide ink, because they may react a little bit funny with your watercolors. I am using some Daniel Smith watercolors here, but any watercolors will work. You can even do some ink smooshing with your distress inks and add some water to it and use those as your watercolors. You could use your zig pens as well, really anything. And I'm not going to tell you the colors that I'm using here because they're really not important. The idea is just to get some basic colors that you like. Here I'm kind of loving that washi tape that I have taping down my little watercolor panel. So that's where I got my inspiration for the colors here. And the great thing about this panel is that it's a really fun coloring project. You don't have to be perfect. It's going to have a really rustic look at the end. We're not going to have much shading or blending. It's really just about having fun and filling in those little areas that are covered with distress ink. That's really all this project is. It's just to have a little bit of fun, honestly, without having to worry about, shading and more complicated aspects of coloring. So I'm just going to keep on coloring away here. And now I'm coloring in the hearts. And now we're going to use the turquoise for some more hearts. And then also for those little cupcake wrappers. This is a really adorable little stencil. It has all the best things from Valentine's Day, like a little Valentine card and some hearts and some cupcakes and tulips and other little flowers. So once we're done here, we're just going to let this panel dry a little bit, and then we are going to use a scalloped rectangle to cut it out. So let's just finish up the coloring. I tried to just let you see a little bit of each of the colors that I added. I tried to add all the colors of the rainbow so that there's just a nice kind of pastel look to the scene. So I'm using lighter shades of the rainbow colors here. Just going to fill in some leaves and some stems. And then just to add a little bit of pizzazz, I'm just going to add some little white highlights with my gel pen, and I'm really just dotting it on here and there. You could also take some white gouache and just put some paint spatters over this as well. That would give this panel a nice look as well, but I just had my white gel pen handy, so that's why I'm kind of just putting some spatters on. And here we have it. So here is our little panel. I just love the rustic look to it. Now we're going to take a scallop die and we're going to run this through the die cutting machine. And now we're going to take the big Love die by Pretty Pink Posh and we're going to put it right in the center and then run that through our die cutting machine. And we are going to make an inlay die card. And this is the frame die or thin frame die by Simon Says Stamps. So you get this really nice 1/8 of an inch little frame border, and I cut that out with some gold cardstock, gold metallic cardstock. And now we're just going to do some paper piecing and put everything back together. So I'm going to take first the scalloped border and just add some art glitter glue, attach that to my card base, just kind of pressing down to make sure it's firmly adhered. And then I'm going to add a very, very thin line of art glitter glue here because the gold metallic frame that we're going to lay down is only 1/8 of an inch. So it's super, super skinny. And I'm just going to be real careful laying that in, making sure not to get any smudges on the gold metallic, and just get that wedged in nicely. And then I'm going to put some liquid adhesive over the entire back of the card panel, and then I'm just going to lay that right inside our little gold frame border. And that looks good to me. And for the O, I want to make sure I get the right placement for the negative part of the O. So I'm just going to add the O in and then add the little negative part so that it sits perfectly. And now we can pop up the letters on some foam tape. This is a double layer of 3M foam tape. And I'm just going to place each of the letters over in their respective spots, making sure that my O is facing the right way there. And we're going to finish it off with a little E. And now we have this lovely little inset card. So we have our little gold frame border, and then we have our love that has popped up, and then these little metallic hearts as well that I got from Honeybee Stamps. And that is going to complete our card design, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this card. This is a really fun project. It comes together pretty quickly, and I just love the look that watercoloring over the stencil provides. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again soon in the next video.